Tonight on First Tuesday.
It's very sad, you know, that we reject human beings just because they're perhaps not as normal as we are.
Away from it all on a very special holiday. And hunters of the outback, their quarry, the kangaroo.
Oh, it's beautiful, mate. Have you ever tasted it? No. Ever seen it? That's magnificent, mate.
Hello and welcome to the first Tuesday of 1984. I'm sure that some of you, those who've emerged more or less intact from the last few days, have already begun that elusive search for the fantasy of white sand, warm sea and hot sun, which those brochures promise can all be yours next summer, for a small consideration, of course. It's not difficult to be cynical about that prospect, which is why it's especially good to be able to start the year for once with a happy film about a successful holiday. In the summer holiday, we join what I think you'll find to be a rather special group of people as they prepare for a week on the Devon coast at Teignmouth.
Teignmouth is a typical South Devon family resort, but in 1982 it became the focus of an ugly controversy when some local business people complained about the number of mentally handicapped holidaymakers being attracted to the town.
Some of the cases we've had, quite frankly, I didn't know existed, and these poor souls are pushed around the town by the nurses in wheelchairs, and not being a doctor, I wouldn't know, but I would hazard a guess that they wouldn't know whether they're in Teignmouth or Timbuktu. And it's a very frightening sight for people who are not used to this sort of illness. It's very frightening for children.
No, I mean, I know that the government policy is to get them to sort of integrate, but the thing is, you take it yourself. I mean, would you go away on holiday in a hotel with about 40 or 50 mentally handicapped people, patients? You wouldn't. I mean, it's just isn't right, is it? I don't think.
I would think that it would be advantageous to the patients to have hotels or holiday centres with their own grounds where they can wander around the grounds if need be without the worry of motor vehicles belting past the front door, and have a little bit of freedom, and a coach ride to the coast for a day out, I think would be wonderful for them.
Leybourne Grange in Kent houses nearly 800 of the mentally and physically handicapped. Like other similar institutions, it regularly sends small groups of residents to Teignmouth for their one holiday of the year. This time it's the turn of the boys from Laburnum Lodge.
Right, lads. You ready? What you about to receive, my lord? Make a two, thank you. Thank you. Good night.
They've been there all their lives, those lads, since they were tiny boys. They have grown up there. That is the only home they have ever known. Their ages are from 18 to 32. They've been institutionalized. Shouldn't we break that monotony for them? And perhaps they would know a bit more about their surroundings if we took them out, or had a chance to take them out a bit more. And I'm not ever going to say that people who are very multiply handicapped, mentally and physically, should not go on holidays. That would be a terrible thing to say. After all, I can't read into their minds, you know. They can't speak, so perhaps this is why people think like this. after all, the only reason why people know whether we're enjoying something or not is the expression on our faces, the way we react, the things we say. These people can't say things, but maybe they are getting a lot out. And maybe if they got a bit more of this type of holiday and getting out, people would see a vast improvement. I hope so.
We all have a holiday a year, so these kids expect it. They look forward to it most of the year as well. I mean, they all know what's going on. They're quite keyed up by now. So yes, I think it is. I mean, it's just a change to get out of the routine. I mean, you see them in a totally different light when you get them out of the hospital environment anyway. And it's broadens their horizons, really.
They're going away tomorrow morning. Because they've got the transport coming in. I've got to have a shave tomorrow morning. I've got to have a shave early. I've got to have a shave.
Oh, we got an holiday tomorrow.
Where are you going?
Old Town.
You been there before?
No, I haven't.
What do you think you're going to do on holiday? Can you tell me?
Oh, sometimes I play football, sometimes I play cricket.
Holiday?
Holiday?
Yeah.
Where are you going to stay?
Old Town.
What do you like doing best on holiday?
Old Town.
Yeah? And when you get to the hotel, what are you going to do then? What are you going to do?
Tea time. Tea time. Tea time.
About a month beforehand, you'll get it mentioned, and 2 weeks beforehand, it comes up every day, and for the next 3 days, I mean, 2 or 3 days, it'll be just holiday all the time they'll be talking about.
Oh, no, when is your holiday?
I laid them out flat, fold them in half, and fold them in half again.
Oh, no.
Right, yeah, I'll do it with that one. Okay, Steve? Well, I'll put mine, put all yours up that end, okay?
That end?
Yeah. That's what I like to see, somebody does it all in one go. Right. That's it. Got any more?
Yeah, they're not one.
Yeah, put them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, put them neatly on top of the pile. If they go into the general public, they must live up to the standards expected of them. I think if you try and do that, obviously you're not going to get perfection, but you've got to try and keep them within bounds of acceptability, otherwise you are going to just automatically build up resentment against you. And it's just going to reinforce people's fears if you see a huge group just running willy-nilly everywhere, behaving as they want to. I mean, they're just going to turn around and say, mentally handicapped, yeah, I told you so.
All right, lads.
We're on our way.
All aboard.
Oh, Simon, I'll sit next to you if you don't mind.
It's no dark. You better say him to get there. That's nice, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, we are. Yeah. Where are they going? Where are they going?
Recognise it. Nice. We've been to buses. We've been to buses. Hit the town.
Hello. Thank you.
No, they're all ambulances.
There's a cup of tea there for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, fellas. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Right.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. I saw you last year.
Last year.
How many we're losing in the goal?
Yes, let's find out. All right, John. Yeah, up again.
Right, okay then. This is your room. Yeah. Whose bed's what? Mine. You want the corner bed? Yeah. That leaves that one for you. Okay. You've got a nice view, haven't you? Yeah, that's nice. What we're going to do then tonight? Go over there? Yeah. Come up here? Yeah. What's Stuart?
Down here.
Yeah, it might be. There'll be a ride out the end there.
Yeah.
What's this then? Got a complaint about your room already? Yeah. Fighting over the beds. You both want the same bed?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, you go have that one, Paul.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, have that one. It's closer to the window and the wash basin. Oh, you want that because it's near the radio, don't you?
Yeah.
I might get woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with that going on. I should be in here. And that's where you're going to be up for the night, all right? What? What an idea. That's enough to wake me up, isn't it? Hey, Kevin, don't get on. There's your face.
Where are you going to put that? Where's that going? That's your swim tray. In there. Yes, that's fine. One? It goes in there, doesn't it? You won't have money to get up and put on your dress. Two?
I can see a green car. Over there. It is over here, Stephen. Oh, yeah. It's a nice colour, isn't it? Yeah. That's a green one.
Hello, Paul. Kevin, are you getting up? Time, it's nearly breakfast time. Having wash. Roger.
Yes.
Stephen, time to get up. Okay. Come on. You sleep enough? You sleep enough?
You thinking?
You sure? All right.
I don't like laces very much. Always don't. Can't even keep my mum down, that's why. I know. I like them bit better. I know. Yeah, I do. Much better, I do.
No cars, not at all. Good show, good show.
Where's the seat? Sit down or in? Not too bad, then we've got far to walk.
Yeah.
Right, last one in. I'll think of something.
Probably is a bit cold out there, Graham. Probably is a bit cold out there.
What's all your nerve endings are frozen totally, aren't they? It doesn't seem cold anymore, does it?
Do you want to send them to? You know, what are the names of the people? They're much more alert. They talk more. And maybe that's because we've time to talk to them as well, much more time to talk to them. Little characters about them that one misses, you know, and you suddenly find they're there. I sit next to little Simon. He'll ask me for a cup of tea. He's not waiting for it to be poured out from him. He'll point to his cup and point to me to get it. They have come out of their shell, as it were, and they have become just more individual type of person.
I would have thought the ideal situation would be to have a house in the country, near a town, with adequate gardens and adequate grounds for them to enjoy themselves. Because let's face it, these people are not like us. They like to do odd things which we don't do, and they like to do them without being harassed and bothered. And this is what we feel would be more suitable.
My own simple analogy on what integration means as far as I'm concerned is, as a caterer, it's a little bit like making mayonnaise. One drop of oil in the mixture at a time, and you get a good blend. Too much oil altogether, and the mixture curdles. And really, this is what's been happening in Teignmouth.
we do. It's got 6 of my mum.
Postcards for a start.
Yeah, I will.
No, don't.
Get something for your mum.
Oh, look at them. Look at them.
Yeah, that's strange, aren't they?
They're nice.
Oh, funny thing.
One of those to put on the ceiling, eh?
Yes, thing.
Bounce up and down.
Yes.
Right, send one back to the villa, shall we?
Yeah. All right.
So don't lose it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boat.
Yeah, that's the boat I think Sister's going on that this morning, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yep. Here we are. Six up a cup of tea place.
Where? Oh,
In here,
yes.
I think.
Well, that's nice in there.
Yes, okay.
I think there's nothing more distressing for these kids to have them taken into a place and then just be kicked out. So, I mean, obviously we'll be a bit wary about, you know, who we approach. I mean, we'll always ask before we go in anywhere if it's okay and this sort of thing. So it is a problem if there is a certain amount of hostility, put it like that. But you have got to be aware of it and sensitive to it. These kids always easily pick up when they're not wanted, and it's quite disappointing for them to have to traipse out of somewhere once they've gone in.
It's very sad, you know, that we reject human beings just because they're perhaps not as normal as we are. It's very, very sad, isn't it? And I think the people in Teignmouth, by and large, they're not shouting the odds. Maybe there are a few agitators. This happens all the time, doesn't it? And they're the people that get hurt, not the nice people who say, well, look, I don't mind, and we walk past them and people talk to us, you know. And we've had no animosity, and that's all I can say about it. I'll come back again next year, and I wouldn't have any worries.
Okay.
Yeah, we will.
Come on, boys.
Right, come on then.
There you go.
Let's get cracking.
Keep looking.
One at 4:30. There's one at 4:30. I read the notice, I did.
Did you?
It said there's one at 4:30.
Yeah.
There's not one at 3:30, there isn't one. There's one at 4:30.
And one down to Dawlish and one back.
No, that's the London
Would
one.
you like train rides?
Yeah, no, that's the London one coming in.
Come from London, is it?
No, there's one. Oh, there's our train coming in.
Good.
I read the notice, didn't I?
Yes.
You were right.
What time it was coming?
I did. There was one at 4:30.
This one's ours, is it, Stephen?
I think it is.
Yeah.
Sister, is that the one?
That's the one. That's the one.
We don't end up in Newcastle.
Is that the one, sister?
It's your reading, Steve. Would like.
I did read the notice, and there was one at 4:30. There was a train.
There it is. Look.
Yeah, there's the train.
Let's find a carriage.
Is that the train coming in? You were busy today, but you were busy. You were quite busy today.
Tell me about the jackpot.
How
many jackpots did you win?
About 4.
You won 4 jackpots. How did you do it?
Because I put the old money in.
Yeah, and then what?
And I pulled the handle and it slipped.
Would you pull the handle for me and get me a jackpot?
I will get you one next time, I think.
You think we might tomorrow?
I think there's some left in my tin.
It's superb just to see the way they react and how they look forward to things and ask questions about them and, you know, and check them out. And oh, it's where we're going and what we're going to do and, you know, the machines, the fruit machines, the amusements, the go-karts on the pier. You know, it's a treat. It's a treat to be with them.
Stephen, do you want to be an Australian?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you do the accent?
Yeah, Neil.
You drink lager?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you afford lager? We can.
They don't do it.
Don't they? Anybody want to be Mr.
Policeman,
Flood?
anyone?
Policeman?
Yeah, do you want to be a policeman, Rog?
Yes, please.
It's a bit of a cumbersome thing, but yeah, it doesn't matter if you've got jeans, it's an artistic licence.
Is it all right?
It's the new modern police force.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
it is.
right, that's fine. It's just you, isn't
Get him
it?
a padded
Yes.
sock for a truncheon.
You want to put this on?
Yes, OK, Rog, you can put that on.
All right.
If I told you that I didn't mean to play that one, I meant to play the one that's coming up now. So, in your circle, are you ready?
We talk about it for a very long time, you know, fun we had, and Paul will go back and he will sketch from memory his experiences with whatever it is he's seen down here, you know. Stuart will talk, he will talk about the train ride, he will talk about the boats and all the rest. I suppose one can look back and think of the changes you've seen in them here and hope to be able to develop along those lines.
For the boys from Laburnum Lodge and other similar groups, their 1 week's holiday is more important than a few snapshots and some happy memories. It means precious contact with a world that has traditionally ignored and excluded the mentally handicapped.
Well, from those gentle images of the English seaside, we turn now to a much wilder setting. Whether you're an animal lover or not, you can't help being concerned about the fate of some of the world's more remarkable creatures. Whales, seals, elephants and tigers are among those species which have suffered at the hands of the commercial hunter, in some cases to the point of extinction. Well, now there are claims that another name should be added to the list, the kangaroo. According to animal welfare campaigners in Australia, their nation's mascot is threatened by an industry which kills millions of kangaroos every year. The evidence was first presented in a controversial film called Goodbye Joey. It's caused a storm in Australia, even though it's never been shown there in full. And it's brought protests from the Australian government. Here's our edited version.
G'day. Monday, the 26th of January, is Australia Day. And if we want to advance Australia, we should all get out and celebrate. You know, after all, it's our day, isn't it? And to get into the spirit of Australia Day, we've got a kangaroo. You know, he's our symbol. So I'd like to introduce you to a mate of mine, Blue, the Roo. Good on you, Blue.
The big danger, I think, to the future of the kangaroos in Australia, and this is why conservationists have to be active, is the industry, the roo industry, using the skins and the meat from the kangaroo. If this ever got control of the situation, then I think the kangaroo would be in for a hard time, and we would see the kangaroo disappearing over large areas of Australia.
Last year, the Australian government authorised the killing of 3 million kangaroos. Professional shooters working for the multi-million-dollar meat and skin industry do most of the killing, and killing for profit has become deeply controversial.
The killing of the kangaroos is left entirely to commercial killers or to the farmers themselves in some cases. The actual killing isn't carried out under any sort of supervision. Knowledge of how many kangaroos there is very imperfect.
The government insists that culling is essential to limit the damage kangaroos cause to crops. Responsibility for the cull rests with the state wildlife authorities.
You cannot indiscriminately kill a roo. You've got to go to the National Parks and Wildlife Service in each state, and they issue you with tags and a permit to shoot a roo. The roo's running over somebody's property, so the owner of the property must also get a permit to cull a certain number of roos with the permission of the National Parks and Wildlife. You can't just say it's a good idea to have a shoot today, boys, we'll go and knock off roos. They're completely protected in this way.
There are over 3,000 licensed shooters in Australia. Each year, they are issued with tags, which permit them to kill a specified number of kangaroos. But in practice, inadequate supervision means that kangaroo carcasses are not always checked for the crucial tag. The system is failing to halt the growth of an extensive illegal industry. The value of each carcass is steadily rising. For a professional shooter, the work can be lucrative.
$100, $200 a night? Well, how many kangaroos would you have to shoot to earn that sort of money? You average about $5, $6 a head. Well, if you're knocking off roos in a night shoot, what sort of numbers would you end up killing in any one night? If they're small roos, you might stack on, say, 50 or 60 or 70 odd, you know. But if there's a lot out there, we might shoot 100 more and make two runs, you know. Leave them on the ground and come back later on and pick them up. Well, what's the largest number of kangaroos you've shot in any one trip? What, legal or semi-legal?
This group of shooters may not be typical, but their apparent freedom to operate as they do reinforces the argument for stricter control of the culling program.
Everyone thinks a roo, like in America, you know, oh, I've got my roo coat on, fucking rah, 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 everything's jab,
Nobody's going to see you.
But when they come here to Australia, they don't think that 90% of the roo skins that they're buying is illegal, which it is. It's got to be illegal. Like, I get 50 tags a year, and I use the bastards over and 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 again. They can't prove it.
Well, let me ask you this. If you went out on one night, how many roos would you shoot? How many would you bag?
Well, we used to get...
How long do you call a night?
Well, a night, we used to go out last year, we used to get about 30, 40 roos a night. That's 3 blokes, inexperienced, first try out.
That was only 4 hours.
And we used to do, 4-hour shoot, and we used to do all right. We used to pick out 50, 60 bucks a night. And that's better than bloody...
That's each, you know.
That's each, and you're doing what you bloody like doing.
Petrol and drinking money,
yeah.
What do you think the roos do this? I mean, they're on the receiving end.
Mate, when a kangaroo tells me, oh, that hurt me, don't do it again, I'll stop doing it.
One thing that we're told a lot about is the cruelty side.
Yeah.
Some people impaling a roo on a post, skin them or whatever. I mean, is that the sort of thing you blokes do? Or
it happens every time. It does. Bullshit. It happens every time. Oh, it does when we go out.
We spied this roo, we blown him away, shot him in the legs, blown both his legs off across the kneecaps, and he's been crawling on his front legs, you see. So we've been out the ute, spotlight on him, chasing him through the paddock, and he's got away from us. So we had the bayonets in the front, chasing him down, got him up to the fence, and he couldn't go nowhere. He couldn't go left, he couldn't go right, he couldn't go over the fence, because when we hit him in the middle of the stomach with dum-dums, we shorn the 1/4 inch off the end of the 303 bullet, and it turns through the air. And when it hit, it just ripped his front of his stomach open and dropped his whole complete stomach out in the ground.
These men preparing for a shoot are allegedly licensed. The following sequence, which shows them on a night shoot, was not filmed by the maker of this documentary. Ironically, it was filmed by a crew in Queensland who were making a documentary for the kangaroo industry to promote the culling of kangaroos. The material was considered too controversial to be of use.
There's some. More over there, look. Big one.
Let's go back to the drill, he's moved out.
Mass slaughter. That's all there is to it, just mass slaughter. It's got to be an effective shoot. You're going out there for one reason, to go and shoot and down as many kangaroos as you possibly can get.
They're not there to play games, they're there to make a living, and they're very highly proficient and skilled people, of course.
Well, when you're right in front of a mob of kangaroos, you just aim at the biggest part.
The roo is shot in the head with a .22 rifle, dies instantly.
Well, I've come across roos, say, 2 or 3 days after. He can't move, he just stays there. He'd either bleed to death or starve to death.
As a vet, I'm absolutely appalled that we as human beings can even envisage this happening. I'm ashamed to be a human when I sit down and look at what we're doing to animal life. They jump on them, they cut them, they try and prop them up, they have flashing lights. The light alone frightens a nocturnal animal. So what are these animals really suffering? Just think about it. Here you see that they're trying to set an animal up for a shot. They can't do it, so what they're doing is they're cutting its skin, and then they're propping it up.
These hunters were in fact subsequently convicted of cruelty. They admitted placing this wounded animal on a stake just to illustrate that kangaroos can damage wheat fields.
There are government inspectors at all levels, from the time it's culled in the field to the time it's packaged, and it's watched throughout. The fresh meat is brought down the same day, so within 24 hours of the time that the roo is shot in the field, the meat is ready to be displayed in the pet shop. Oh, it's beautiful meat. Have you ever tasted it? No. Ever seen it? That's magnificent meat.
Most of the kangaroo meat exported from Australia is turned into pet food. However, it's also used for human consumption, particularly in West Germany and in Japan, where it's considered a delicacy. But is the process always as hygienic as the authorities claim?
Now, once the bullet hits the chest cavity, it can career around in there. It can take the lungs, it can take the heart, or invariably it hits the abdomen wall, bursts the abdomen wall open, and then you have the whole of the chest cavity in the trunk full of excretia. And that spills right down to the hind legs. There cannot be a can of kangaroo meat cooked that hasn't got some form of bacteria by excretia being in it. Kangaroo substitution has been going on in most of the states of Australia and coming into the food chain and ate without anybody knowing about it by way of small goods and production meat. And the inquiry has found that there has been wholesale substitution for export where beef was allegedly packed. That beef has had a large tonnage of kangaroo mixed with it.
Although most of the kangaroo meat imported into Britain is turned into pet food, there is evidence that unscrupulous dealers sometimes sell it as low-grade beef, and it's been discovered in sausages, hamburgers and even school meals. At the heart of the argument lies the opening up of the American market. The ban on kangaroo imports into the United States has been lifted indefinitely. Conservationists say this has given a fresh impetus to the hunters, but the government claim that only 3% of carcasses go to America and that stocks are healthy.
Roos breed at the rate of about 17% per annum, so that the quota is intended to keep the roo population at its present level.
The situation is that the illegal kill of kangaroos is probably something like, it's probably as big as the legal kill of kangaroos. That in itself, of course, indicates that there is very poor policing of the kangaroo killing in this country.
So the official quotas, the official kill quotas, are actually doubled?
Yes, at least, I would say. This, of course, is only an estimate, but I think you could say that whereas this year we've got a quota of 3 million kangaroos, that something like 6 million kangaroos would be killed. Now, out of a population of, say, 20, 30 million, we don't know, at a time of drought, that could be very dangerous for kangaroo populations.
Concern over kill quotas intensified last year during the worst drought on record in eastern Australia. Conservationists claim that in places up to 40% of the kangaroo population died during this period. But the overall quota for 1983 still exceeded 3 million.
Well, you don't have to be a sentimentalist about animals to find some of those scenes pretty gruesome. According to the Australian government, though, the film exaggerates the scale of the problem. So, from Sydney, we're joined by Barry Cohen, who's Australia's Minister for Home Affairs and the Environment, and zoologist Peter Rawlinson, who's been campaigning to save the kangaroo. First, Minister, if I could ask you, I assume that you find some of those scenes as horrifying as the British audience will have done. What steps, if any, are you taking to ensure that that level of cruelty doesn't happen again, or is controlled?
I think I agree with you. Those scenes.
Well, I think you've got to understand
that, and
one of the problems in Australia
is a very large country.
Unfortunately, the responsibility lies with the states. They are gradually increasing their, tightening up their laws in this regard, but it's very difficult in a country the size of Australia, the size of Europe, 15 million people, properties of some 200,000 acres, to catch these people actually in the act. And all we can hope is that the states will continue to toughen their penalties. They'll catch these people in the act, and they'll be severely penalised when they're caught.
Because, in fact, two of the people in that film who were found guilty of cruelty were, I believe, only fined, what, 75 Australian dollars each, which is a paltry sum, isn't it, for that sort of offence?
You're absolutely right. It was an appallingly low sum, and we will be urging the states to increase the penalties for that sort of, those sort of acts of barbarism.
Peter Rawlinson, if I could come to you for a moment, do you accept that there is precious little that can be done about those who are sadistic enough to want to kill animals in that way?
In those circumstances, I don't accept that answer at all. I think the obvious answer in this case is for us to get rid of the commercial killing of kangaroos, because at the moment the vast bulk of the kangaroos that are killed in this country are killed because there's a commercial incentive to do so. And one of the answers to getting rid of the extent of this problem is just simply for the Australian government and the state governments to get rid of this industry.
Why does commercial killing in itself create cruelty in the manner of killing?
Simply because the kangaroo shooters themselves, in fact, really don't earn very much per kangaroo. The accepted figure at the moment that's been published just this last year by one of the officers of the New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service is that they only make a profit of about $1.50 per kangaroo after they've taken all their costs off and so on. So they need to kill a vast number of kangaroos to make any kind of a living. And that is where the corners get cut, that's where the cruelty takes place, And that's where all the unacceptable and inhumane acts come into the situation.
Minister, what about that?
Well, I think that's absolute nonsense. What we dislike about this film is that one or two examples, set up, I might add, deliberately so, to give a very, very false impression of the Australian people, the Australian government, the National Parks and Wildlife people, and the commercial shooters. Now, the simple fact of life is that a commercial kangaroo shooter has one interest: to kill a kangaroo as efficiently and as quickly as possible. It is nonsense, as Peter Rawlinson suggested, that they have a vested interest in being cruel to animals. And that's what we think why this film is so horrific, because what benefit is there to them in being cruel to animals? They've got to kill quickly and efficiently so that that there is no damage done to the skin and no damage done to the meat. It's just sheer nonsense. It's not in their own interest to kill and be cruel to animals.
Peter Rawlinson, are you totally averse to any commercial exploitation of animals that have to be culled?
I think that's where the real problem comes in. I don't accept that 3 million kangaroos a year need to be killed in Australia. The number of kangaroos that are being killed at the moment are basically being taken because of the commercial value of those kangaroos. Most of the shooting takes place in the low-intensity grazing lands of Australia and not in the high-intensity agricultural areas. And I do not think that there's any convincing proof that those numbers of kangaroos need to be taken. I think the numbers that may need to be culled because they're causing genuine problems to agricultural concerns is probably only about a tenth the number that the government authorises to be taken in the quotas. And I would like to quickly go back to one point that the Minister made. He said that scenes in that film that you saw were staged. And I'd like to emphasise to you that there is no evidence that those scenes were staged. The scenes were shot in Queensland for a Queensland television company, and the executive producer of the film said that the film was shot in order to show, in part, that there was no cruelty in kangaroo harvesting, and the journalist who was in charge of the television crew has specifically stated that no acts in the film were staged, and the Queensland government has never prosecuted the film crew who shot that segment of film for any staging of acts of cruelty. And I think we've got to get rid of that because it's a point that keeps cropping up time and again.
I would like to leave that with your two alternative views of that film and ask you, Minister, finally, if I can, the case against what is happening to those kangaroos under the auspices of your government is essentially, as I understand it, that you can't cull in an ecological and humanitarian way at the same time as making money out of kangaroos. Briefly, your response to that.
Well, I believe that we can. First of all, I'd like to take up a point that Peter Rawlinson made, that the population killed was some 3 million. It's not. In 1982 it was 2 million, and this year it'll be around about a little less than 2 million. I believe it can be done. We will continue to tighten the laws. We will put pressure on the states to ensure that there is the minimum amount of cruelty, the maximum amount of prosecution. We will continue to ensure that every humane way possible is found to ensure that the culling of kangaroos is done in an efficient manner.
Barry Cohen, Peter Rawlinson, thank you both. Goodbye.
Well, in First Tuesday next month, we'll have a film about the town of Amarillo in Texas. We went there because, given the current controversies about nuclear weapons, it has a special fascination. It's the final assembly place for every single one of America's nuclear bombs, including those in the cruise missile. Here's a brief extract from the film.
Pantex to us is a necessary part of not only of Amarillo, but of the United States, of the world peace. I think the people here see it as a patriotic part of our country.
It makes us special in a way because we have the main nuclear war plant right here in our city, and I believe when I was younger, I know a lot of kids thought that if America ever got bombed, this might be one of the first places. But I believe that it gives us some, like the preacher said, some patriotic thoughts of ourselves.
I feel safe, you know, in my city. I know that we are protected, and I have no worry at all. I feel safe with my family and everything here.
I don't like it because something bad's going to happen about it someday. It's like living on the San Andreas Fault. It's like living
like flying an airplane with an epileptic pilot. Sooner or later, in the law of large numbers, something's going to happen. There's going to be an accident, or the PLO, or the Red September, or the Bright October, whoever they are is going to try to raid it and kill a lot of people. And they may get a bomb, too, and they may let that bomb go off someplace. Or maybe Jane Fonda will make a movie about it, or you're here to publicize it, and all of a sudden the world's going to find out that we've got the one death plant out there, and it's like living down the road from Auschwitz.
The town that builds the bomb. That's the next first Tuesday in February. Hope you'll join us then. Goodbye.